Good day everyone. We are the Group 3 and we're going to discuss Unit 6 Food and Beverage Sector. I am Karin Migalanta and my group mates are Eunice Enosa, Colin De La Cruz, Germaline Harabejo, and Jeremy Gabriel. The chapter learning objectives are trace the history of the food and beverage industry, describe the different types of restaurant, explain the importance of franchising to the restaurant industry. Discuss restaurant profitability and calculate food cost percentage, gross profit, and average guest check. Calculate the restaurant breaking point. Explain the role of the menu in a restaurant success. Differentiate airline catering from a restaurant catering. Discuss restaurant promotion.
History of food and beverage service. The history of food and beverage service is of course as old as humans themselves. However, there were no major explanation or developments until the 19th century, when Nicholas Appert invented canning and Louis Pasteur developed pasteurization. This process made food and product that could be preserved and packaged for later use. Food and beverage services sector contributes a great deal to the profits in hospitality industry. With the increase in importance of business meetings, a range of personal and social events, a large number of customers visit catering establishments frequently. The food and beverage professional tirelessly work to intensify customer experience through their service. The F&B services providing business deliver food and beverages to their customer at a particular location, on premise, such as hotel, restaurants, or a customer's intended premises, off premises. Types of restaurants. Family or commercial restaurants. The family-style restaurants offer a wide menu of meat and potato selection with a price range that appeals to an average family income. They serve beer and wine if they have a liquor license. The decor is bright. A combination of counters, tables, and booths is common. Parking is necessary since customers usually arrive by car. Family restaurants are normally located near a residential area and a highway. The operating hours usually from early evening to midnight. The staffs are very friendly and efficient. The initial investment is medium to high. Coffee shops. Coffee shops are characterized by a fast food service. The decor are simple and prices are relatively low. It is usually located in office building or shopping mall. The rent is high. The stops are often minimally trained. The peak periods of coffee shops are lunch and coffee breaks. Operating hours are from early morning to early evening. A take-out service may be offered. Cafeterias. Cafeterias are usually located in shopping centers and office buildings. Self-service is typical with limited menus of soups, entries, desserts, and beverages. Cafeterias often require a large preparation area. Their staffs are minimally trained. Beer and wine may be offered. Fast service is necessary to handle the traffic volume. The operating hours will be depend on the location, a school, office building, airport, or highway. Gourmet restaurants. Gourmet restaurants generally require a higher initial investment than other types of restaurants because they require an expensive ambience and decor. They cater to those who want a higher standard and are willing to pay the price. Cafeterias often require a large preparation area. Their staffs are minimally trained. Beer and wine may be offered. Fast service is necessary to handle the traffic volume. The operating hours will be depend on the location, a school, office building, airport, or highway. Ethnic restaurants. Ethnic restaurants feature the food of a specific region or country. They can be Chinese or classical French cuisine. The decor usually has an ethnic motif. In order to be successful, ethnic restaurants must serve authentic cuisine of the region or country they are featuring, and those who are prepared the food must be well trained and knowledgeable. Prices range from budget to high. Beer, wine, and liquor may or may not be served. The initial investment is high because of the decor and staff training. The location is variable. Operating hours are in the evening.
Fast food restaurants. Fast food restaurants have increased in the past 20 years as people have become more mobile. Franchising is a common in this type of restaurant. The menu is limited with low price. Because of low price, many customers patronize fast food restaurants. Fast food restaurants operate for long hours and generally for 7 days a week. Alcoholic beverages are not offered. A well-trained staff is required for franchise fast food operation in which franchisors set standard service and food quality that must be maintained at all times. Fast food chains have been successful in the past 2 decades because they have offered the limited. This has given the greatest purchasing power, less waste, and lower labor costs by using disposable paper, plastic, and styrofoam containers, which save dishwashing costs. These restaurants are pioneers in stabilizing more efficient food operating systems. Deli shops. Deli shops provide delicatessen food service, combining the regional delicatessen, cold meats and cheese with takeout sandwich, salads, and similar items. Some deli shops have limited seating capacity. They are usually located in shopping area or office building and are open from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. or 9 p.m. Capital investment is low. Deli shops have low labor costs because only 1 or 2 owner and employee are involved. Buffet restaurant. Buffet restaurants are established on a completely self-service basis. However, if liquor, beer, and wine are offered, table and service for this beverage are provided. The food buffet is usually an all-you-can-eat hot and cold food for one price. Food preparation and service staff are kept to a minimum. Buffet restaurants cater to the family and therefore offer a reasonable price. They are open from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m.
Transportation restaurants. There is a natural link between transportation and food service. Several restaurants are generally found along auto and bus transportation routes. They are also found at bus, rail, and air transportation buildings, as well as on transportation vehicles as trains and ships. Some transportation restaurants cater to tour groups, particularly bus tour groups. These restaurants can be quite profitable if the market can be maintained. They require special cafeteria or buffet-type facilities so that arriving groups can be served quickly and continue on their journey. Franchising. Franchising is based on a marketing concept which can be adopted by an organization as a strategy for business expansion. Where implemented, a franchisor licenses some or all of its know-how procedures, intellectual property, use of its business model, brand, and rights to sell its branded product and services to a franchisee. In return, the franchisee pays certain fees and agrees to comply with certain obligations typically set out in a franchise agreement. Franchising is not an equal partnership, especially due to the legal advantages the franchisor has over the franchisee. But under specific circumstances like transparency, favorable legal conditions, financial means, and proper market research, franchising can be a vehicle of success for both franchisor and franchisee. And now, let's talk about restaurant profitability. Food cost percentage. Food cost percentage is often used to measure a restaurant's marketing success. It is determined by dividing the food cost for a period, a day, a week, a month, by the sales for that same period and then multiplying it by 100.
Gross profit. Gross profit is the profit a company makes after deducting the costs associated with making and selling its product or costs associated with providing its services. Gross profit will appear on company's income statement and can be calculated by subtracting the cost of goods sold from revenue. This figure can be found on a company income statement. Gross profit may also be referred to as sales, profit, or gross income. Average guest check. Another profitability measure used in restaurant is the average guest spending or average check. Average guest spending is calculated by dividing the total revenue received from a particular period, a day, a week, a month, or a year, by the total number of guests served during that period. Break-even points. The break-even point's break-even price for a trade or investment is determined by comparing the market price of an asset to the original cost. The break-even point is reached when the two prices are equal. In accounting, the break-even point is calculated by dividing the fixed cost of production by the price per unit minus the variable cost of production. The break-even point is the level of production at which the cost of production equal to revenue for a product. In investing, the break-even point is said to be achieved when the market price of an asset is the same as its original cost.
Hello, good day. I'm Jermaline Harabejo and I will discuss the remaining topics on our report. So now, let's proceed to the lesson. Menus. The menu is the basic planning document for a successful restaurant. Several aspects of the restaurant's operation depend on the menu. The menu contains what the restaurant offers, the range of offerings, as well as the selling prices. The menu must portray the style and theme of the restaurant. Thus, the menu's design, printing, size, and colors are important. The menu also determines the equipment needed and the investment required. In general, the more extensive the menu is, the more varied the needed equipment will be. Also, menu, known as a list of food and drinks available in a restaurant, cafe, eatery, and so on. There are two main types of menu, and these are the a la carte and the table d'hôte. A la carte provides a choice of dishes within each specific course, and each dish is priced separately. Halimbawa, si burger ay 25 pesos and si coke naman ay 20 pesos, so they both have separate prices. While the table d'hôte has a fixed number of courses with limited choice within each course, and the selling price of the menu is fixed. Halimbawa, si set A meal na nagkakahalaga ng 70 pesos and that consists of spaghetti and coke, and si set B meal naman ay nagkakahalaga ng 150 pesos and that consists of chicken, spaghetti, and coke. So they both have fixed prices for each meal or course. Another pictures for the example. Also, the menu determines the more items are contained in the menu, the more complex the service will be. Kasi kung the more na simple ang isang food or drinks, the less ang gastos, kailang equipment, or other things and stuff for the preparation and service. Logistics. To produce hot meals, the airline companies have to prepare specification for recipes, ingredients, cooking methods and temperatures, and labor for each flight. This require a forecast using the actual passenger reservation for each flight, including an allowance for standbys and last-minute reservation in order to have the correct raw materials, equipment, and food production stock for each shift. Preliminary meal counts are usually prepared from 24 to 72 hours ahead, so the food supplies can be bought. Menus must be carefully selected for each flight to avoid serving the same meal to a passenger on two succeeding segments of a trip or a round trip. In addition, trays and serving utensils and supplies must be in the kitchen when the meal is prepared. In short, logistic refers to overall process of managing how resources are acquired, stored, and transported to their final destination or place. Airplane galleys. The first airplane galley was designed in 1936 by Douglas for its DC-3. Meals prepared on the ground were kept hot or cold in insulated container on the aircraft. After World War II, the introduction of larger airplanes enabled them to have ovens and refrigerators on board in their galleys. The removable ovens are filled with hot food in the ground flight kitchen, moved to the aircraft, and then plugged into electrical outlets. In short, airplane galleys are the facilities that serve and store the foods and beverages. But the galleys on commercial airlines also contain flight attendant jump seats, emergency equipment storage, as well as anything else flight attendants may need during the flight. And ito yung itsura ng airplane galleys. Flight kitchens. The first airline flight kitchens was opened in the late 1930s near Washington, D.C. Hoover Field Airport by a gentleman named Marriott. He had a restaurant near the airport. He noticed the passengers would go to his restaurant to eat before boarding their flights because no meals were served in the airplane. He approached Eastern Air Transport, now known as Eastern Airlines, and offered to prepare lunch boxes in his restaurant for Eastern's passengers. Eastern agreed, so the first flight kitchen was established. At present, Marriott in-flight services has approximately 100 flight kitchens around the world, which cater to 150 different airlines and serve 100 million meals a year. Flight kitchens defined broadly to include all flight catering operations, including in-house airline provisioners that supply flights with food, beverages, snacks, and associated service items. Some airline companies have their own flight kitchens, while others contract with other airline companies that are equipped with their own kitchens. Most of the airline companies turn over their catering services to outside caterers because airline kitchens are not large and efficient. And these pictures ang itsura ng flight kitchen. Difference between airline catering and restaurant catering. Airline catering is different from restaurant catering because in the latter, the cooks can make last-minute adjustments. For example, a steak might be prepared in the flight kitchen to be accompanied by a sauce and vegetable to be served 2 hours later. During this time, it must be kept hot. If there is a flight delay of 1 hour, the steak will be stringy, the sauce will be congealed, and the vegetables will be mushy. In an ordinary restaurant, a meal like this will not be served, but on an airline, the serving crew usually has no other choice but to serve it. In airline catering, the logistics are very complex, but airlines exert great efforts to serve good meals to the passengers. They even respond to the needs of passengers on special diets if given enough notice. It says the restaurant catering are more convenient than airline catering in terms of the quality of food or beverages that being served. Halimbawa, si guest or customer or passenger ay nag-request or nag-complain sa sinerve na food or beverage, restaurant catering can make a last-minute adjustment on it and mababago pa yung sinerve ayon sa gusto ng nag-request or nag-complain ito. While in airline catering, no other choice but to serve it kahit na less quality na ito. Ito yung itsura ng airline catering. And ito naman yung itsura ng restaurant catering. Restaurant promotion. Many restaurants advertise their menu on newspapers. Local newspaper advertisements are used by most restaurants as a major form of external promotion. Several restaurants advertise in the yellow pages of the local telephone directory. Some use local radio or television stations. Most popular restaurants and national restaurants chains advertise in airline in-flight magazines, consumer travel magazines, and travel trade publications. Many restaurants try to foster good relations with nearby hotel employees such as front office staff, bell desk personnel, and doormen because they are often asked by hotel guests to recommend good nearby restaurants. Good public relations and word-of-mouth advertising generate a lot of business. Restaurant promotion is simply means promoting the restaurant. Ginagawa ito para i-promote ang good quality ng service and product sa isang restaurant and offer a way to reach both new and loyal customers. Also, restaurant promotion can involve everything from showcasing signature dishes to running happy hour deals, one-time campaigns, and can take the form of advertising video or commercial, billboards, posters, coupons, flyers, or discounts in your receipt or in product price.